And the topic is Devilman Crybaby.
Hey, Elijah, we discussed this before, man.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So the topic for today is Devilman Crybaby.
There you go.
My bad. I need to put some emphasis. All right. 20 characters or less. How do you feel about the show, Caleb?
I don't like it. It's terrible. The characters are boring.
How are you gonna put this man in a virtual simulation of Twitter?
Because if I tell them because they're gonna talk all day, especially Caleb. So
I'm passionate about it.
We were talking about this in class, and I'm like, "Yo, wait for the podcast."
we couldn't wait.
Heck, man, I'm super passionate about what I'm gonna tell you. My side of the piece too.
All right, you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Ethan.
I appreciate it for what it is. I respect that it influenced some other series like Evangelion and Berserk. And I see that there's good things in there. I also see that there's some bad things in there. And I'm excited to hear some ideas in this podcast, so it might change my opinions. But all in all, I left out of that. I turned off the TV kind of being like, okay, I'm not good. I like this. But not really. Well, this is something, but it's not going to stick with me like Gurren Lagann or Hunter x Hunter.
120 characters.
No, that's fine.
I'm sorry, but yeah. It has potential, but it's a show worth watching.
Tori?
I actually really enjoyed Devilman Crybaby compared to a lot of other things. And I think as a new show for 2018, it broke a lot of ground.
Yes, it
that
did.
was 20 characters.
Yes, it did. Fritz?
I liked the show a lot. It provoked a lot of philosophical thought, religious thought. Overall, to me, it was a pretty good show. I couldn't get into it at first, but then it started opening up, and I liked it.
Yeah, it takes a bit.
Yeah. What about you, Elijah?
I would recommend the show to anybody. I ain't like it as much as I thought I would. Watching the previews, but there's no but. I was just I don't like it as much.
You would.
You just flat out wouldn't recommend it.
Why wouldn't you recommend it to anybody?
First of all, it's not my cup of tea.
Is it because you're religious?
Not even. Yes, but I mean, there's a lot of things I watch that isn't religious, but the way this show portrays things, I just wouldn't recommend it to anybody. You know, and I was disturbed watching this show, especially the first episode. So,
yeah, the first episode.
Yeah, it's
pretty explicit.
It's something.
Yeah.
For many people, leaves much to be desired.
Yes.
Look, I'm saying, the first episode. It's the first episode of your show.
Yeah.
And if it leaves that taste in your mouth, then the show is already off to a bad start.
The taste of blood.
And you have to watching the first episode, like my spirit hurt. Like it was, I don't know. It was just like, wow.
It was just gratuitous to the point of silliness. And with a show that's not portraying like comedy, that's bad.
I think since the show it has a very freeform feel, especially in the art, that's why it could get comical at points. But I think that was also very important that in the points where we weren't supposed to feel anything, that's where it was less detailed. And the things that we really needed to feel and understand, they made sure to get into the nitty gritty of the part of it. And that's why, yes, being the demon transformations were so grotesque, but I think that was something that we needed to see.
Yeah.
As humans, demons are chaotic. We are both chaos as well as order. So when we went to the Sabbath party in the first episode, that was just pure chaos. Hence why the people can get possessed by demons so easily.
Right, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with, that kind of, bringing up that. But the way it was portrayed, I'm fine with gore. I'm fine with, showing sexual images.
Yeah.
But when it just becomes pure, absolute nonsense, I have to back away and be like, this is objectively ridiculous.
To piggyback on Tori,
yeah,
what we have to understand is when we sit here and look at demons or certain, the whole theory of demons and stuff like that, demons aren't pretty.
Yeah.
And if you look at the society and what the churches or whoever of any religious fascists preach, hell isn't pretty.
Yeah.
Dante's Inferno.
Sure.
Yeah, if we look at Dante's Inferno, if I'm not mistaken, the seven sins or whatever.
The 7 rings of hell.
Seven rings of hell. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. at
Right,
all,
yeah.
you know, and that's what I kind of liked about this show. We tend to focus too much on the good instead of the bad as well.
And
I'm fine with that. Hey, go ahead.
I think it's we also have taken consideration for who's directing the show. Masaki Yuasa. He's known for not making the prettiest of drawings in his anime. If you watch his other previous work, you could say it looks ugly or looks weird, but like his signature style is making things not look so pretty, making things look grotesque or looking rough or looking weird, because it gives maybe a more genuine feel, or maybe more dirty or rough feel to it.
Well, what my point would be like to say to that, since I did watch his other work, which is Ping Pong the animation, he tends to make his work more human in that aspect, that since humans aren't perfect, we are not, straight lines, we are not black outlined people, we have edges, we have scars, we have bumps and bruises. So that's why I think I really like the animation style for Devilman. And going back and seeing Ping Pong again has made me actually really appreciate that and seeing it as an art piece.
The animation, I'm fine with the animation. It's really great at some points, like really, really great. And like you can screenshot it and put it up on your wall and it's art.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just flat and uninteresting to look at.
Yeah.
And for a show that people are so up in arms about, this is a great animator and great artwork, the show is lazy with its animation sometimes. What's the episode where Akira goes to see his parents? That was a flat
3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, I think it was
a
on
flat
3 or 4.
episode.
That was like,
It was so flat. And it just becomes what effort did they put into some of these episodes?
I mean, with me about the animation, I'm not, I guess, familiar with his art style, so I ain't
it could be
like it that
off-putting at
much.
first.
And it's different from all the other animes I watch. So, but I just have to agree on Caleb on that one.
Like the start of it, because I think I missed a couple of scenes at the beginning of when I first watched it. So when I first laid eyes on the show, it was Miki running, and I was like, "Whoa, this is really good." But then as the episodes kept going, I saw these marks of laziness in the animation that was just glaring to me in a show that's really good with its animation.
if I may interject, if you've ever looked at something that this particular animator has done, he is known for reusing a bunch of animation frames. And as somebody who is studying to become an animator, he did this as a way to lessen the workload and then just make sure that the story got through. Yeah, I understand that it looks really lazy, but it was also an artistic choice that he chose to flat shade instead of doing cell shading. Which
I think was a poor decision because sometimes it just looks bad. Like there was a moment where in that episode I'm talking about
with the hanger,
they had the silhouettes of the characters, and I'm fine you don't see their faces, but they drew their faces but without the mouths or the eyes.
But a lot of animes have done that. Like if you look at XX Holic, for example, anybody who is not a main character is grayed out and then they're just walking in the background.
Yeah, but these are the main characters. This is Ryo and Akira.
But is it showing emotion when they do something like that?
Yeah,
like,
it's important what the scene is trying to express.
Yeah.
No, it's just their silhouettes. It's not, there's not emotion going on in the scene. They don't know what's going to happen yet. It's just their silhouettes.
It was kind of like one of the things you see is like, oh wait, that's not supposed to be there. If they're able to darken up the face and like so they wouldn't show that, because like if you look closely at it, because I noticed it and I thought it was kind of funny that they didn't have any eyes or a mouth, but like I feel like they probably should have darkened the face more so you wouldn't be able to see that or notice that.
But if you notice, eyes are the windows to the soul. Take away the eyes, then you don't know what they're really thinking.
True.
That's
Bars.
cool, but that's cool. That's cool, but sometimes in that episode, like Akira was going into his closet, his proportions were way off. He was like 2 times the size of his own closet.
Yeah, but again, this was a lot more freestyle animation, and since they're hearkening to a time that either is condensed or non-linear, I guess is the better verbiage, they tend to just really stretch things out.
I don't know. Maybe it's not for me.
Their
Maybe
bodies are
that's not-
elongated and like just very stretchy and just
Oh,
like
you think that's bad? Watch Holic. Everybody's 3 times their height they're supposed to be. Their legs go over their heads. Like that's how tall they are.
You guys are very critical of
Yeah.
of animation. I see.
That-
But the thing is that every review I read, every video I watched, everyone praises the animation.
yeah,
I like the animation a lot.
I did too.
I didn't like that much.
There was great animation. Like the last couple of episodes are really good.
Like Burn in
Yes,
Hell
yes,
Mortals
they
and
are.
Crybaby.
They are beautifully animated.
All right, is it
Beautifully
all right?
animated.
Is it beautifully animated? Because I noticed in like the last four or 3 episodes, the dialogue changed. So is it possible just because the dialogue changed, it made you overlook the animation?
But repeat the question, because maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying.
All right, for me, the last 3 episodes of Devilman were like good, like the whole turning point of the controversy of somebody
Humans
turning into
and demons,
yeah,
yeah.
the demons versus humans.
Mhm.
For me, the dialogue changed in that. So would that be a possibility of people overlooking the animation because of the dialogue between the characters and stuff?
Yeah, like
I think that
I don't
I
think
didn't
so.
notice any
Yeah.
difference between the dialogue.
Me
It
either.
was all kind of robotic and
I felt like
interesting. But I do agree. Like those 3 episodes were beautifully animated. Maybe that was the reason, but I'm not sure.
I noticed in the last 3 episodes that there was a tonal shift. And
Yeah.
No, there were.
Yeah.
There was.
Which was
There was a big
really
tone shift.
really like jarring. It was jarring.
I mean, if you want to go back to what Tori said about, how demons are chaotic, I got that when it was the end of the episode. When I watched all 10 episodes, that's when I realized, okay, I get the reason why, he did what he did on the Sabbath and stuff like that. So,
Are we allowed to give spoilers or do I have to give a warning first?
Nah,
no, you can give
we-
spoilers.
Give spoilers. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
good.
it's fine.
Okay, that's good.
Because, like, when Ryo took Akira to the Sabbath party and he, at the time, didn't know he was Satan, I felt like in the back of his mind, his Satanistic ways were just like, well, if we take him to this party, he'll lose his inhibition and then he'll become possessed by Amon.
Mhm.
Akira never really did lose himself to the full chaos of things. He still had the balance of a human. He still had the morals of a human. While he watched everyone else there just kind of completely lose their inhibitions and become those evil demons. And Ryo himself also said he liked the simpleness of demons because they were just pure chaos.
Yeah.
It was kill to be killed or
Yep.
live to
They're
live.
straightforward. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryo even states himself that subconsciously he always knew he had this plan
Yes.
to get rid of humans.
What took me about the Sabbath, the Sabbath is supposed to be on Saturday, but
Yeah.
one thing that triggered when I started seeing the Sabbath and everybody partying and going to the club, look at society now. On a Saturday, what do you see? You see people going to the clubs and
Yeah.
drinking
Yeah.
and
And
committing all these acts and
night-
things.
at
So
night, that's when the demon comes at night.
exactly.
That's true.
So to me, that was when I saw that was pretty unique, and that drew me closer to the show.
It was good symbolism, I think.
Very.
Especially.
Okay. Here's the,
It was symbolism of the times
Yeah.
of now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
here's the
exactly.
thing. Here's the
I
thing
agree.
about symbolism in the show.
Okay.
It is not hard to do symbolism when you are referencing the Bible. You could open any passage and put your finger down and put that in the show, and it's symbolism.
No, but you have to know how to do it correctly.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
True.
people will, especially the Christians, they will.
They obviously don't care about the Christians though, because what you're saying.
Well, not us, but people that criticize the Bible or people that review the Bible, they will check you on that though.
I don't think he cares about that.
Well, and if you noticed, a lot of the passages that they were reading, at least like what I seem to notice, is that they were reading in a lot of Revelations.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
the thing about the book of Revelations is that is like, at least to me, one of the oddest books of the Bible.
Yeah.
It is,
No, it is.
Yeah.
it is definitely one of the harder ones to sit down and read it because it just seems like a huge acid trip
Yeah.
for the
and,
most
and
part.
people have
Yes.
a lot of theories about it, and I think that's what this whole show was about. Because I thought I was going to make a second season, but watching the end of the show, they're
I
not.
would not want
There's no
to.
way.
And
Yeah.
I'm happy they're not going to make a second season. But the whole show, I think, was about Revelations.
Yeah, the book of Revelation.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what this whole show triggered, and it's in a song, Kanye West's "Devil in a New Dress." You could learn a lot from Satan. So to me, with the whole Acura Akira and Rio relationship, that's Akira like learning things from Satan or Satan learning things from Akira. And I remember when I was younger too, I still write poetry. There's something, I wrote a line that said something about a demon searching for Jesus and that everybody needs it. So when I saw these demons like Devilman having a good heart, it made me think, yo, like what about the demons who actually regret going in that dark path and they're looking for good?
That's another thing the show tackles with, like, are demons just monsters, or can they go through their emotions,
or can they change?
But I found the theme of that was like too late, like the 7th episode, and I probably will quit watching the episode.
There is so much themes in this show that it gets muddled at the end.
But
where you're just like, I have no idea what's going on. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to give across? They don't get, if they're trying to say that Akira is being corrupted by the demon inside him, they don't fulfill it. If they're trying to say that Rio is corrupting him, they don't fulfill it. If they're trying to say that humans are like demons, they don't fulfill it. I get the want to say these things, and they're valid things to say, but you got to choose. You have to choose one and go for it. And the show doesn't do that.
I see what you're trying to say, and I think the whole point of what the author did, if I'm using the term correctly or incorrectly, I think his point was to provoke thoughts.
Yeah.
Things that people don't think about.
He wanted you to question your morals and where
question
you're coming
morals.
from.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. I was
multiple questions, not with just one.
Yeah. But I was not questioning. At one point it irritated me.
I was too,
because I was like, people don't act like this, and for sure,
that's a hot one. That
people do.
People just act
just like that.
So you telling me
so the beatboxer who, for no reason, betrayed his friends because he thinks that Kun, his other friend, got killed by Miki. And he goes and betrays his other friends and puts their heads on pikes and then starts dancing around with them. That's not how people act.
First of all,
people do act like that in times of dire stress. You don't understand. Like, if you were ever put in a situation where you watched your friend die, or you thought they died from somebody else, what would you do in their
Would you kill your other friends?
Yes.
Like the people that you care about?
But you have to understand, people kill each other right now. Best friends kill each other. Like for
little things,
petty stuff. For putting in a situation like this, I won't be surprised.
Honestly,
I think it was overblown. I think he got too ahead of himself.
Honestly, after thinking about it, you could also say that the world, what's going on in the world right now, can also affect them to a point where it's just madness.
Yeah, because I
was looking at the scenes and with the tornadoes and lightning going on, I was talking to myself like, man, I'd go crazy too.
There was obvious time skips that were going on at this point where the war of demons versus humans was going on. You could tell that. So in times of high tension, people tend to do things that you wouldn't think that they would do.
Yep.
Like killing your friend or hurting your neighbor.
Just like Solomon witch trials, when they did the killing of the witch, you think people would actually do that if
but at this point witches? There's demons flying about, there's tanks going around, there's nukes being shot up everywhere. The world is literally going in chaos right now, so I might as well become a part of it.
Exactly.
People are scared, they don't know who to trust anymore, whether they trust themselves or the government.
If that's the case, then the show did not portray that well to me.
All right.
Okay.
I think that the show,
maybe I'm just dumb,
did a good job. You're not dumb. You're not dumb. Your points are valid. But I think the show did a really good job at just conveying this sense of true chaos to a point where it just gets trippy and just we're like, what am I watching at this point?
Yeah.
The chaos is there, and seeing the destroyed world, and that made me feel like this is crazy, and I would go insane too.
And it's just my preference. When it's just pure chaos and nonsense and images that back to back that don't add up together, that's not what I like.
And I can understand.
I like linear storytelling. Not even linear story, because I love Quentin Tarantino, and Quentin Tarantino does not do linear storytelling. But storytelling that at the end of the day, I can look back on and see and be, okay, you know what? That makes sense. I can get what he was trying to do there.
Sometimes I feel like the show does go a bit too far with it and just goes a bit too insane sometimes.
I thought it went too far, but you have to understand they're dealing with demons. So to me, when you're dealing with demons, there's nothing that,
There's nothing that can't be touched when you're
exactly
dealing
when
with
you're
demons.
dealing with demons. So I can understand that. Yes, it was gross and I was disturbed, but again, we're dealing with demons, so I understand.
Yeah, not the like the yes, you can go. Sorry.
No, I mean after you.
But like, not that it's like, gross or anything, but like with the war going on, all the craziness going on, I was okay with that. But like one scene in particular, I don't know if this is a real thing. I doubt it is. But like those men flying with the spears and they're able to shield off against Psycho Jenny's attacks and stab her. I was like,
what was that?
What was that?
Yeah.
Is that a real thing or?
Well, I mean, in times of war, people do, because right now we're looking at Ryo's narrative. Ryo is an unreliable narrator because he's Satan. He can bend things to his will. And to Caleb, he's boring. But to me, I thought he was very interesting and the way that he looked at the world. And you also have to look at the original source material of Devilman. It is a 6-chapter manga. Like, it is not very long. So they're trying to portray a lot of things in a span of 10 episodes.
I think in the manga took like their fight between Satan and Akira take like a millennium.
Yeah, it took like a whole millennium before
If we could talk about that for a
Akira
second.
died.
All right. About what?
Just the source material. Looking back at the source material.
Hold on, before we get into that, I just want to address something. We have to understand, like, when we look at words, there's more than one meaning to a word. So when we look at like the word death or chaos, we have to understand what's going on in our society as well. So when we see a whole bunch of people acting insane, and I like the fact that he integrated social media in there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that was
definitely.
very
Yeah.
important.
So-
the comments were super funny.
Yes, like
but some of those comments are real
Yeah,
things
that
people
is
say.
things that
Real
someone
people.
would say. Like, I think white people are evil. They produce the demons. I was laughing, but I did agree. Like, that's something
It's
someone would
because-
say.
it's funny
Like,
'cause
go
it's
kill the
true.
witch Miki. Oh, why are you saying that? You're just a liar.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that. So when we use the word like death or die, dying doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I commit suicide and I'm completely dead. You could die more than once in a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, you could love something or your passion or whatever, and your passion could die inside of you.
Yeah.
Like,
Same thing,
And when we look at like the whole chaos aspect, like social, like we see it in real life, man. People, friends, we unfollow people because they have a certain political view or they disagree in an argument, a minor argument or whatever. So that's that aspect. When I saw the am I saying the term properly? The author of the
director?
anime?
Yeah, you can say director.
The
Or
author, the director of the
maker, creator.
the creator of
Mangaka. It's all good.
the creator of the show. When I see him integrate these things in here, I'm like, these are the times that we're living in.
Yeah.
Like
It's true.
when people kill each other over the most minor things.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to be aware of that as well. So
Yeah,
I
we're
feel
living
like
in the time of
so he's coming at you in all
SJWs.
directions. He's coming at you in all directions, and that's what I admired about it.
that's what. Yeah, it shows a lot of humanity and
Yes.
like where humanity is at this point in
Yes.
time.
Yes. And how easy it is to divide and conquer.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah, we have a lot to say. But moving on, how do you guys feel about the characters in the show?
They're boring.
What stand out? Okay, good. what characters stand out? What was your opinion? Okay, since you wanna shout out Caleb, you go first.
I think that the characters are utterly boring. Rio is even more so. He's like a wooden block, and who just spells out exposition to Akira and to the audience. Akira has no memorable, I want to say memorable, but meaningful flaw or motivation that propels his want to go forward. We talked about maybe his flaw is, he trusts Rio too much. But the problem with that is it becomes not a flaw anymore. It becomes just laughably bad writing. Because if we were supposed to believe that he cries for other people, sadness, right? That's what Miki said.
Yeah,
Is that he cries when other people are in
sad.
pain.
Yeah,
Why would he go along with Rio after he knows that he murdered 2 people who were innocent? Why would he trust him after that? Why would he be buddy with him? and I'm not saying he has to, cut ties with him like that, but at least have him be like, you know what, Rio, I'm trying. You're my best friend. I don't want to lose you, but if you keep acting like this, I can't keep hanging out with you. And that's conflict. That's drama. That's tension. And the show does not have any of that.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Akira portrayed the battle between the demon and the human's heart in my eyes. So in the whole opposite attracts thing, Rio was the devil and Akira was the human. So obviously there was something in Akira that Rio found an interest in.
Yeah, and I mean, when you also look at Rio's backstory and how he went to Earth to go and stay with the demons, and then God killed all the demons, and when he came back, I think in a way, God put Akira down as a way to be like, make amends and fix yourself.
Yes.
Sure, but I'm just Akira. There is no progression in him. There's no growth. There's no learning from his mistakes. He does things and there's no consequences. We don't even see him reeling from the fact that his mom and dad died.
He was upset when his parents died. I mean, if you look at what happens in the original, he felt so much pain. He didn't want to kill the demon because he's like, my mother is a part of him.
Yeah.
He was like, Dad, you can fight the demon. You can become a Devilman just like me. Just fight him.
Mm-hmm.
But then the demon overpowered his father. Hence why he cut off his head, because that was where the true intention lied.
Foreshadowing and symbolism right there.
After that episode where he punches his mom's face in and kills his dad's demon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see him mention that at all. We don't see him dealing with the fact that his
never
parents
could tell anyone. How can you tell somebody, hey, I killed my mom and dad? Like, whoop-de-doo, my parents are dead. Like, you don't say that kind of thing. So he was dealing with it internally because he can't tell people that demons exist yet.
But you could at least make it interesting. Make him try to sympathize with Rio, but Rio being, a sociopath can't relate. And that strains the relationship, causing drama and tension. This is what I'm talking about. There's no drama or tension between any of the characters. Any of them. Miki isn't suspicious at all about Akira, and they don't have conflict with each other. She's just happy all the time. Oh, Akira, you have a new body. I guess that makes sense.
But both of them were naive. That's what they talked about at the beginning.
But there's naivete, and then there's being stupid.
But both are flaws, to the truth. So,
but
yeah, But Miki will never stop seeing Akira as the same kid who cried in front of her while she was about to get her face punched in.
Then why was
memorable moment?
Then why was when at the end of the episode where she died?
Which
oh god, that episode
at the very end.
Yeah, I felt that episode.
That would hurt me a lot.
Not
I got
for me.
spoiled because I welcome me too.
Honestly, not for me. Because I don't care about the characters.
I didn't mean to.
Naughty.
At the end of that episode, she doesn't think about Akira when he was a teenager, when he was grew up with them. She only thought about him as the hunk with the motorbike.
What?
This was at the end of the episode. There's a
Which
little.
Miki are we talking about?
No,
Miko or Miki?
He's talking about like the extra scene after.
There's an extra scene at the end of the
episode 9 where they're riding on the
they're
motorcycle.
riding on the
ending
motorcycle.
scene? No, I don't think that's anything
that's
what
really
she was
nothing.
thinking about.
That's honestly just an extra scene. It's a nice thing.
Then what was
the
it for?
audience.
It was for closure
yeah,
because she was taken away unfairly. She was stabbed in the back by people who she thought she could trust. Well, because she was misled because of the other rapper who was sitting there, and then he died, and then she was trying to run away, and then she got shot in the leg.
yeah.
Well, she got shot in the leg before, but she didn't know any of those people. They were just coming after her to kill her.
I think she knew the dread-headed one.
No. I mean, the people.
Well, she saw the guy friend who
yeah,
gave her
yeah.
the earring in the car.
Yeah, and he died.
Yeah,
But she didn't know that. That's why she kept running towards the car,
And
because
then-
she thought it was safe.
The car just came down. It didn't she wasn't running towards the car.
Yeah, she was.
It came down. She was
No,
running.
She wasn't running towards the car. She was running away from the guys behind her.
Cars came
Yeah,
down,
when the car came down, she did
was
see her
running
friend,
towards it,
and then she's like, "Oh yes."
then she
ran
back.
Okay,
And then
all
she ran
And
back.
then
Okay.
Yeah.
there are some characters that I don't like, and there are some characters I think that could have been done better. For example, I can't remember his name right now, but the athlete who does turn into a demon.
Roto.
Oh, the super high schooler.
Is it
Yeah.
his name
Yeah.
Roto or
I
something?
think it's
like
Kato.
To heck
Kato.
with that guy.
Kato, yeah,
I
Kato.
can't stand
I feel
him.
like the creator could have done something better with him. Maybe it was his intention to make him just piece of trash.
Coda.
Coda.
But,
yeah, the super high schooler.
After
Coda.
when we first are introduced to him, he's like grieving. He's like, man, I'm killing people who I love. And then after what happens at the relay, but in the episode after that, he just becomes this cocky guy who's like, man, I could run faster than you. He's racing after Miko. He's like, you only won because I was injured. I was like,
Yeah.
like, how do you turn to this cocky
But here's
guy?
the
so
thing: we don't know how much time has passed since then because
is
he's
true.
been living in that apartment complex for a while, ever since Akira hit him there.
But if time has passed, they don't establish that. It just feels like it's been the next day.
But they
And
do.
and the
Well,
they do make
the
casual
destroyed
mentions.
buildings could mean that time has passed. Honestly,
but they need to show us because the show leaves too much up to assumption.
Up to the audience.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with leaving stuff up to the audience. That's great. That could be a great storytelling device. But when a lot of just simple details are left out and left to the audience to decide, it just feels like they missed or like they forgot to put that in there.
And I also think that it's a slight downfall for the fact that they didn't translate all the social media because that also gives you
That is
dates
true.
and time.
Yeah.
You know what they could have also translated? The rappers rapping.
What
They rap
dubs?
fast.
They
rap-
dub. It's in Japanese.
Yeah.
and dub
I
is
bet.
Japanese, and they rap fast, and the subtitles go by fast. So if they just took the effort and like do what they did with Kun Kun with his rap to Miko, and rapped over that, then I could have gotten it. But they chose not to translate it, which I don't get.
Here's my counter argument. In Japanese, they have 3 different versions of their language: katakana, hiragana, and kanji. Depending on the usage of those words, they can mean several different things. Hence why they left those words in Japanese, because they have multiple connotations.
But they still translated them,
Yeah.
so they could take the
but they lose a lot of the meaning when you take them into
right,
English.
but you could still take what they're saying, rewrite it into the pure what they're trying to say. So you don't have to make it word for word, but write what they are trying to say, what they're trying to get across with their raps, and just write it in English so it makes sense to an American audience.
I thought the same before, but after talking to Tori about it, I feel like something would be lost if they did that.
It's a loss in
It's
translation.
lost in translation.
Yeah.
And the best way is just to bring out the pure rap, just like that.
but if
It is jarring. I do admit it is jarring.
But if it's so difficult, then why? If it's so hard to get that same message across, then why do they do it with Kun Kun? Why do they do it with his rap to Miko? It just
Because
feels like
His rap to Miko was a lot more simplified.
And
Yeah.
intimate.
It was a much more intimate thing as compared to where the guys were talking about how life in Japan has gone down. People are being left in crack houses and people are dealing drugs and sex and money, and how things have just gone downhill for them.
I feel like they could still take the meaning of the rap itself, not even replace it, just write what it would mean in English, and have the voice actors rap that.
All right, my question to you, Caleb, do you not get the gist of the poetry or the rap?
Maybe I'm a slow reader, but
I feel
when they're rapping, I'm trying to read
Are you trying to
read the subtitle. Read the subtitles. No, I'm trying to read the subtitles because they have it on when it's dubbed. They have the subtitles there.
Yeah.
But because they're rapping so fast, the subtitles go by.
But do you
fast.
stand almost all English rap? Heck no. Those people talk way too fast.
Yeah, but what the rappers are saying is important to the story. They're talking about the world. They're talking about what's happening. So it's important for me to understand.
But that's why they also give you the visual keys as well.
Okay.
I mean, I have a problem with the subtitles because I watch subs or dubs when it comes to anime.
Yeah,
so
same.
I can read fast, so I understood it, and I didn't mind it at all.
I usually watch dubbed. I know.
If
I'm
you
sorry.
can.
I'm sorry.
But,
But
no,
I'm English.
subs all day, all day.
There's some
I
shows
speak
I have to
English,
watch, so.
and it's I don't know. It's
But,
hard for me to get back into.
But when it comes to Akira and Rio, because I did want to talk about them a bit, because I do agree with you a little bit on what like your suggestion for like maybe Akira could confront Rio more. They do that in the series. At first, I was kind of like I was with Caleb. I was like I don't understand why Akira can like still believe in Rio even after, especially after the relay. Like that, I would not be able to go back to Rio and be like, "Hey, you're still buddies." But honestly, after thinking about it, the point they were trying to get across is that Akira did believe in Rio till the very end. And at the end, Akira does stop believing in Rio. I feel like they could have done that a bit better, maybe with a bit more confrontation.
Yes,
but I eventually, after on my second viewing, I did get the point.
because
I mean,
at some point it just becomes like, what is as a storyteller, you are supposed to immerse your audience into the world, into your characters, and when I have to step outside the story and ask, what is going on? Why are you doing this? This makes no sense.
Which I want to touch on.
It takes me out of it, and it ruins that part of the story for me.
All right.
I feel like
yeah. Go ahead.
this show should make you a crybaby like Akira. I feel like that would be like an awesome thing, because if we look at Akira before he was possessed by a demon, honestly, I don't think we get much from him before he was possessed by a demon. Now, compared to the OVA, I feel like they did a great job with doing, like, yes, it's funny and the dub is like hilarious, but like honestly, when you see Akira protecting the rabbits, things that can't protect themselves, he's taking the hits from the gangsters because the rabbit can't protect itself. It's like, okay, we understand who Akira is. And then when he's in the nurse room with Miki, he's like, it feels like everything bad is just coming my way, but he still decides to be a good person. So I'm like, okay, I think in the OVA they established Akira before he was possessed by a demon well. So when Akira does become Devilman in the OVA, it really feels like a drastic change. And like there's two sides. There's Akira is very different from Devilman, because then it becomes super violent. And like I was like, am I watching the same OVA?
But here's the thing, though, in the 80s dub, which is the OVA that you're talking about, Akira has moments where he talks with Amon. Like Amon is the one who's talking and not Akira, and you can obviously tell that. Like the time where he's talking in the hospital with Rio, and Rio's like, "Oh, I think the demons are right," and then he grabs him by the scarf of his neck and says, "I'm going to rip your head off and shit down your throat if you don't think what we're doing is right."
Yeah, which I do agree. Amon does, like in Crybaby, sometimes you'll be like, is Akira doing this? But why would Akira do this? We have to remember that Amon could be manifested from Akira.
That's conflict
in the show.
Yes,
In Crybaby, yes.
No, but we don't.
Yeah, we don't get that in the show.
There's no distinction to if it's Amon or if it's Akira, and as an audience, we need to be able to differentiate.
Yeah,
I have no idea if Amon took over or it's just Akira.
I think when Amon takes over, that's when Akira's eyes go completely white.
But his eyes are completely white most of the time when he's Devilman, but he still acts like he's Akira.
But you see, that's different when he's Devilman, because in the times where because he never lets Amon fully take over when he's Devilman. That's why he can go halfway to full Devilman.
Yes, and if you remember when Rio was explaining to Akira about the rules of devils and things like that, if Akira allowed Amon to take him over or whatever, Akira all that time was fighting, I believe, Amon's will.
Yeah.
But Rio establishes the rules of the demons and how they take over. Like you're still allowed to fight the demon's will. So I feel like that's what Akira was doing all the time as Devilman and him being his human form.
But we don't see that happen.
But they tell you, but you don't have to see it. The fact that Rio tells you in like the first episode, he establishes rules.
But we don't see an example of it happen.
I do think seeing is better than telling. Show, don't tell.
Yeah, but they don't deal with demons. They're actually like a person as well. So you can't have Akira the whole time and not have Amon.
But Amon wasn't a character.
Yeah, that's
That's the problem. We don't see him interact with Amon. We don't see him struggle with, switching back from Amon to Akira. It would have been interesting if, for a second, Amon took over Akira's body and did something horrible, and Akira has to deal with that.
Maybe you could say the show, maybe this choice was intentional. Maybe you want to focus more on Akira struggling with it. You don't really have to see Amon really thinking about it.
Well, they mention it one time in passing where Akira just kind of went into this blind fight and rage because Ryo says, I didn't think you would use my list like that without telling me. And he was covered in blood. And he was like, Ryo, what do I do? Tell me, what am I doing wrong? What do I do? That's what he was talking about, was when he was taken over by Amon. And he's like, I feel awful. I feel crazed and I just want to kill things, but I also feel sad about doing it because it's Akira and Amon having that eternal struggle.
If it's just in passing, that's the problem. It's in passing.
And you can,
I forgot about that. I completely forgot about that. And that's important to the show because Akira is the main character, whatever. I guess it's Ryo's story, but Akira takes up most of the screen time.
Yeah.
Well, because the director wanted this to become more of Ryo's point of view. So this is why we're seeing it, because Ryo is watching Akira. That's why we see Akira all the time. Ryo doesn't want us to watch him. He wants us to see Akira.
Sure.
That's an interesting way to take it. I got that, but like when you're saying Ryo is watching him all the time, that's an interesting thing I thought to have. I think.
Caleb, what mindset did you go when you watch shows for like the first time? What mindset do you go into?
I go into it with a blank slate. I don't want to go. I didn't want to hate the show.
Yeah, he doesn't want to hate it.
I wanted to love it because I want to have a good time. And when I finished watching it the first time, I was sad because I wasted an afternoon. I wasted my whole entire afternoon watching a show that I wanted to give a chance, and it had great potential.
Did it provoke any type of thought in your mind?
No.
Well, when we were watching it again, we did question some of the stuff that happened, like what the director was trying to do with what the choices he made.
The first time, I didn't get any thoughts from it. The second time, I wanted to figure out why he did what he was doing.
The reason you didn't get any question from it, because were you criticizing it the whole time when you were watching it?
Yes.
I was watching it the way I watch stuff, which is just, I mean...
Yeah, just blindly watching it.
But when you watch stuff and you criticize it the whole time, you don't have room to like question anything.
Yes.
It's just, all you do is criticize it.
No, I mean, I watched it, and when I saw stuff that made me go, what? I had to stop and I had to think about what happened.
Okay.
I don't know if that was criticism, but...
No, I get you.
No, that's perfect logic.
That was like when I was watching Code Geass one time and I saw a specific scene. I X'd out of the computer because I was watching in class. I was like, did I just see what I just saw?
Like for example, one of the most damning things about the show, one of the damning moments about the show, when Miko was masturbating to herself getting raped, and the director put donkey noises over her moans. I had to stop the show.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Miko after it's like in the second episode.
Yeah,
she comes home.
She was like feeling something, and then she saw Akira's bulge in her mind, and then she started masturbating to that thought, and then the images of her being raped were in that thought.
And then she kept masturbating, and then she.
But then again, it might not be rape. It might be a rape fantasy, which is even worse. But it might be something that she may have not experienced before, because that photographer saw her before, and he didn't act any different towards her.
But the problem is that the scene in itself, this girl masturbating to herself getting raped, and then the director chose to put donkey noises over her moans. I had to stop the show and be like, I don't know what's going on. I had to stop and try to figure out why he would do that. And there's a lot of that stuff in the show where I after the second time watching it, I've come to the conclusion that he does not respect women at all. At all. The way he shows Miko, the way he shows Miki, the way he portrayed Serene, there's no doubt in my mind that he does not respect women.
I have to admit, like, when it does come to those scenes, I was like Caleb, like just trying to figure out why did the director do this? And I was looking up on the internet like what did people think from the scene? Because I was trying to think, or like, and I remember the director had an AMA on Reddit. I was trying to see if anyone commented on it, and then someone did comment on it, but he didn't answer. Some people say it's a Bible allegory. Some people say she was trying to put Akira's face. Some people say that she was trying to put Akira's face on the photographer to make it better.
But they needed to show that. They needed to, you know, like I said, intercut between Akira and what was happening. And then maybe the rape part kind of takes over at the end. Don't put the donkey stuff in there. Don't even put it in at all. It's just weird in the show.
I feel like the scene is confusing, and
it didn't need to be in the show.
Yeah, I really was trying to figure out what message was trying to get across.
And there's also the part, and this also made me, you know, I had to step back. It's in the 4th episode or 5th episode, the one with Serene.
Oh, beautiful Silene.
Yes, he fights her.
I'm surprised you memorized the title.
This is Akira at this point, because we know that he said, "I'm Devilman." Why would Amon say he's Devilman?
Yeah.
He drops down. They start fighting. She says, "I want you to screw me." And they start fighting. Akira is angry at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He grabs her top wing, rips it off, and says, "You want me to screw you so bad, I will." Brings her up into the sky and proceeds to rape her. Brings her back down. And then she says, and this is how I know it was rape. Well, first, she was trying to get him off of her.
Yeah.
By scratching his back and headbutting his head to get her off, to get him off of her. They get back down, and she says, "I can't believe you've done this. You humiliated me. I will never forgive you." That's rape. The main character, the one we're supposed to like and follow, rapes a woman.
Well,
now she's a demon.
She's a demon,
but it's still rape.
I understand what he's saying, but you also have to understand it is a demon and he's still fighting the will. So
Because
in that scene, there still could be conflict between him trying to...
And Amon.
Him and Amon, exactly. And to me, that's what makes it unique.
I do agree that it was Amon at that moment and not Akira.
Yes.
Because
I don't see any difference.
Akira would have stopped himself.
You have to see a difference. Though.
And the context before that, he was trying to look for...
But the thing is she wanted Amon.
Yes.
Yeah, she wanted Amon.
Why would she get mad at Amon for doing that?
Right.
If she wanted Amon.
Exactly.
So it had to be Akira.
It had to be. So
are you gonna forget Celine's intentions as well? Because I could have swore she said no, let me finish. I could have swore she said she was gonna have sex with him and take his manhood, eat his manhood.
Yeah.
Don't neglect. You can't just sit here and call rape. Do not.
But why is she scratching his back and trying to get him off?
There's no wait. Hold on.
They're demons. They're fighting.
Serene's no better.
She's no better. But at the same time, you don't know what Amon's character or personality is like as well.
But that's a problem. We don't know, and I have to believe because all the evidence is there in front of me. Him saying he's Devilman, Serene trying to get him off of her. That is Akira, and what you said before, eating manhood, that was in response to the other guy saying, "And what if he doesn't want? What if
he doesn't want to screw you?
Yeah, then I will kill him and eat his manhood." And that's what she said. Now, Serene is a terrible, terrible person. She's a demon, but that does not negate that the main character of the show commits rape.
To my point to that, in that episode, we are also dealing with the fact that Akira, his own personal sin, is being addicted to sex and porn. And with Amon and what Celine said in passing, it is much harder to deal with these sexual urges now that they are also inhabiting human bodies.
Yeah.
So yes, it could very well be Amon doing these things to her. And it might just be both Amon and Akira at the same time, which is why she said, "I can't believe you've done this. You've humiliated me." And I'm not saying that it's right in any way or form, but those are some things that you have to look at as evidence that it's not just Akira alone.
Yes.
That it could very well be Amon.
The show does a terrible job of showing that.
Look,
I mean, at least something. Just put like a tone in his voice that says, "Oh, that's Amon right there," or his speech pattern changes, or something.
That does make you question like who's really in control.
And that's why you guys. I don't think you guys understand the point of fighting a will. You know, like it's all about your will. There's always going to be a
because
conflict
they are sharing
right
one
there.
body, so you could say that
Exactly.
It's the duality.
But we don't.
the whole
Thank you.
situation.
So it could be like a bipolar disorder, like just to relate to the human being. It could be a bipolar. It could be schizophrenic. Like we all have a duality in us. We all have that dark side in us that sometimes we don't portray in real life. Some people do have rape fantasies.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You know, people have, you know, it's fine if you have rape fantasies.
No, it's not like
No.
If you want, if that's what you're into, then that's fine.
Yes, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But does that really need to be in the show?
Yes, like it's like
showing
what
us
Tori
the dark
said.
side of humanity.
Yes, it's what Tori said. Yes,
But the way it was presented,
I'm not saying that it's perfect,
yes,
but
It's a part- go ahead.
there's a side of humans that is disgusting and vile that we ourselves don't even want to acknowledge.
Yeah,
exactly.
I agree.
sure, yeah, okay.
We don't live in a.
But the problem, I agree, we don't live in a perfect world.
Yes,
But the way I'm talking about, the way he presented it, gross, and not in the fact that, oh man, this, you know, that makes me think. It's just, wow, this is way overboard. This is unacceptable. Donkey noises over a woman's moans is not okay.
how do you know there's women out there that don't like moaning like a donkey?
No.
Let's If we're gonna
Yeah,
talk
we're gonna
about
go
this,
down this road.
if we're gonna go
Okay.
down this
All
rabbit
right.
hole, let's go down. I
No,
know
I'm fine.
there's women. All right, there's women out. Look, when you're an artist, you can portray whatever you want. However the world reacts to it, that's just the consequence of the work that you put out. I
That is
feel
very true.
like you're looking too deep into it. Like there's nothing wrong with moaning like a donkey. I could have consensual sex with a woman and she's like, "Yo, I like moaning like a donkey. Is that okay with you?" And if I agree to it, then hey, it is what it is. I might be turned on by it, you know? I don't think he degrades women in that fascist. But if we're gonna talk about degrading women, that is a part of the society that we live in today. And that's what it is. If we're going to talk about the war, you can't just sit here and talk about, oh, these soldiers are going off to war and they're going to return fine. You need to explain the positives and the negatives of the aspect. So if we're going to talk about demons and the battle of duality and the battle of human beings, we have to show the whole thing. Demons aren't going to have
the same morals as us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And
And they
yeah, I
have
get that.
even worse than what we're.
yeah.
I understand.
And even with Kyleem and Cyrene, Kyleem loves Cyrene in a way that we would never understand. He loved her in a way that a demon would only love another demon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So seeing her beaten, bloodied and everything, he still found her beautiful, injured and dying. That's why
cool.
he ripped off his own head to let her live. And
That's cool.
which shows that
with
demons
the
can love.
scene with Miko,
Uh,
there is a passing comment with Kun Kun who said, "Oh yeah, there's a man with a strange pet in that apartment." Maybe that's just how she sounds. I'm not saying that it's a right way to portray things, but there is evidence saying otherwise.
But okay, my problem is I don't care how she sounds when she moans. It's
You do
it's
have a problem with that.
it's the comparison between an animal and a woman. And that's where I had to be like, this is where it needs to stop.
What if
Where you draw your
what if
line?
yeah, so what if he just put the animals moan or the animal noises just so he couldn't, the whole artistic integrity whole thing. You know, sometimes when rappers or artists, they make music and they're not allowed to use a certain word, they have to replace the word. What if he couldn't use a woman's moan and he had to?
No, he could have because
Yeah,
there was the law of
he used-
pornography stuff. in
Yeah,
there,
he
so-
could have. And it started with her moaning. She was moaning,
There were more than
but then it
Sabbath.
just changed to her.
Didn't she have a demon in her?
No,
No,
not at the
not
time.
Not
at
at
the
the
that
time,
no.
but she does get possessed later when she meets Kun Kun after he professes that he likes her.
And then they go to a.
Then they go to a Sabbath party and
Yeah.
they take drugs, and then she eats him. Unfortunately,
Bro, what if that's how she likes to moan?
that's what I was saying.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But just the idea of the comparison between a donkey and a woman, that's where I have to be like, okay.
Well, because what you're comparing is that you're saying that women are animals to other people's pleasure, that they are just animals to be used. That is what I'm seeing with your comparison
Yes.
right there.
But I don't think he meant to portray it like that at all.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
And we have a woman
Do you
saying
think
this too.
he was portraying just? Do you think he was just portraying the raw nature of it?
Maybe.
I just
think that
didn't get the scene when he did that.
I think
to
it
be
was
honest.
supposed to be showing the raw nature and how young women, it is very it's very negative for us to even think about masturbation and taking care
And
of ourselves in that way.
If you think about it, I feel like the women were a bit more sexual in this anime. Like back in episode 2,
No, it was.
with
episode
the
1.
2 girls trying to unlock the door. One of the girls like, "Oh, you got a nice bum," and then they started pumping each other. It's just it's subtle things like that to probably show that maybe women can be sexual too.
Yeah. Women can be sexual.
They
Me,
are more
growing
than
up, man, I've learned to see just like, damn, I don't know how I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say it. Growing up, I've learned to take the innocence out of women because they're in a sense, sexually, they're just like men.
We're all crazy.
Yes, we're all. Yeah, thank you, Ethan. We're all crazy.
We're all crazy. We
I
all
don't know about you, but I'm not crazy.
We're all a little crazy. Believe
I
it or
don't
not.
know.
We're all crazy in different ways. We're all crazy.
Yes.
But you see, we have no problem talking about male masturbation, but when the topic of
Exactly.
female masturbation
It's like a
comes up,
taboo.
it's almost completely taboo.
Yeah, I remember.
Anything that
yeah.
has to deal with the female body is almost a scary topic for people to talk about.
And I think it's because of the whole innocence thing. We view women like, yo,
that we're pure
yeah,
objects.
put them on a pedestal and this and that. I learned to hit that pedestal down and let them live. man.
Look, I'm fine with that,
Yeah.
but he didn't handle it in the right way. I wouldn't
He
want to see
doesn't
that.
have
I wouldn't want to see that coming out of a man's.
I wouldn't mind. Like
Jack off time.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. You have to get to that point where, he's his artist and if that's what he wants to display, he could display that. He doesn't have to be politically correct all across the board.
And that's true.
It's just like when you decide to write your story or your comic book or whatever you decide to do a movie, like I wouldn't want nobody to place a limitation on my art. Like you have to portray women in this light. No, I'm gonna portray it the way I want to portray it, and I'll deal with the consequences later.
Exactly.
So like you have to. If we're gonna talk about freedom, we're gonna have to let people do like what they want to do.
Yeah. I
We're
agree.
gonna express that.
And even if you don't like it, you don't like it. That's it.
Yeah.
So
But
spread the word if you don't like it.
okay,
So,
I just think there needs to be, in my opinion, there needs to be a certain. You need to limit yourself.